in a culture, we have organization. We have individuals who grow up, individuate, take on their own characteristics, have jobs, responsibilities, relationships, and they work generally in accordance with the rules of the society, whatever society that is. You break the rules, you get punished. You speed your car, you shoplift, you get caught, you go to prison, or you get fined. This is like the immune system, you know. So when there is an impairment, when there is a fault, the immune system or the law enforcement system comes in and makes correction. This allows for order to continue on. But cancer is different, because cancer isn't about the breakdown in this sense, but really cancer cells are immature cells. They're stem cells. They have not matured. I don't know if any of you ever read Lord of the Flies, which is a great book, and subsequently made a film of that. And what they showed in that book is about how violent and chaotic children are when they have no supervision. And I think that's what cancer is. Cancer is cells that have no supervision, cells that are out of control, cells that are not responsible, that are not part of society, not part of the body, which is our society, and they act in very, very selfish ways. That is, they only take care of themselves. They only satisfy their own needs at the expense of the host, of the body. So in the same way, when you have terrorists in a culture, you have people who act only in regard to their own beliefs and needs, and are wanting or willing to destroy the culture without regard to the people who will suffer. And that's what cancer is. So again, is cancer a disease? I don't think so. I think cancer is a psycho-spiritual disorder that manifests in the breakdown of order within the body. Also, cancer is often called disease of the genes, and I think again we need to really examine that, because, you know, I think we've culturally taken genes to be this essential thing. It's like the homuncula. It's like the soul inside of the cell. It controls life. But genes aren't things that make life. Genes are simply devices that communicate to RNA to make amino acids, which in a non-discriminate way. So they make amino acids. The amino acids then are non-discriminately collected together to make proteins, which then communicate to a variety of cells in a non-discriminate way. So someone who has said, you know, genes can't even make an interesting porridge or an interesting sludge. Genes are not the cause of these things, and we tend to, in our culture, want to find the essential problem. We want to break down the atom into its components. And while this may be interesting in physics, when it comes to medicine, I think the opposite is true. The problem, cancer is not caused directly by genes. Of course, it involves genes. But it is really, in essence, I think cancer is the breakdown of order within the system, and then rogue cells begin to take over and cut themselves off in the community. In the body, when a cell goes bad, what it does is that it is communicated with surrounding cells to commit suicide, apoptosis. It has both internal mechanisms through some of the anti-tumoral factors like p53 gene to actually induce death in the cell, or the surrounding cells communicate to the cell. You know, and it's not like some of the Old Testament things of banishment, and somebody is thrown out of the city and they're on in the into the wild, where of course they die. And so in the body, while cancer cells will probably and do probably arise quite regularly in the body, they are often destroyed either by themselves or they're shut down in terms of their growth by cell cycle. The surrounding tissues induce apoptosis, a number of factors there. But even if these tumors develop over a period of time, they can't get any bigger than 1 million cells, which is the size of a pinpoint, and unless they have their own blood supply. And there's another factor is associated with that. They actually, by their nature of being hypoxic and acid in nature, induce angiogenesis. That is, they induce and call out their own blood supply. So again, they are like stealing from surrounding tissues, from the body itself. They're taking energy for their own growth without regard to the end product of that. So when we're looking at cancer, we're looking at a lot of these factors: cell cycle, cell-to-cell communication, membrane to nucleus communication, apoptosis, angiogenesis, immune evasion. You know, they hide themselves against the immune system. And often you'll find that perhaps naive practitioners want to tonify the immune system. And I think we need to be clear here about what's going on with cancer, because cancer arises in a very interesting environment in which there is a distinct difference between cellular immunity and humoral immunity. And what we find in cancer is often, because of its acid state and because of its hypoxia, and in Chinese medicine we talk about the stagnant dead blood at the core of a lot of tumors, we find that there is a diminished cellular immunity and an elevated humoral immunity. So just to tonify the immune system is not necessarily appropriate. What you have to do is to correct the imbalance, reduce some of the factors associated with interleukin-6, humoral immunity, and increase some of the factors associated with cellular immunity, like interleukin-2. So quite clearly, cancer is a complex condition that is personal, but also societal. And when I say it is psychospiritual, I'm not being metaphysical. I'm saying that there are qualities of embodiment and aliveness that occur and that have a direct effect on cellular health and function.